What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Viking Berserker Brunch.
Oh, this is
I
me.
believe episode the most terrible thing, and this whole episode was full of drama and terrible things. Hashtag family feud. I cannot speak today, so just please forgive me. I hope everyone's doing well in the chat. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce my co-host. How are you doing, Mackenzie?
I'm doing very well, Johnny, and he's trying to know. You don't normally really call me Kenzie or Mackenzie anymore, which is kind of funny. But I'm doing very well. We're kind of doing a lot of content today, especially and for you tomorrow. So this will be it's a good episode. It's like you said, a lot of drama, not a lot of battle stuff, because I guess they're preparing that for the next coming episodes. But it'll be awesome.
True, and Mackenzie's your maiden name, so that's what we're gonna go with.
Okay.
No, it's okay. So I was just Mackenzie L. Burns. Go check her channel out. We'll be on there right after this. I didn't link it, but someone can throw it in there in the chat. What's going on, Bobby Catalano? Hey yo. Um. So all in all, this was a pretty good episode. We some dramatic things play out. We pretty much kind of thought was gonna happen. So we'll start in
Mm-hmm.
Wessex with Aethelred's funeral and. Alfred's not sick anymore. He wakes up and, well, he finds out that his brothers died, and, well, Judith is just a fantastic liar at this point. Still, she's just playing the game in front of everyone. And then right after this, we have Judith with Cuthred's daughter, basically telling her if you're pregnant, you better leave. I don't know. How awesome is Judith? I mean, I know she's not a great person, but go
Mm-hmm.
ahead. Sure.
Yeah, with yeah, because like you said, in this scene, we kind of end the heels off of the last episode, which happens to be sorry, my phone's going off. Which happens to be the murder essentially of Aethelred and Judith, and Alfred obviously doesn't know because he comes stumbling into the throne room, and he's questioning like, who are they burying? Like, who are you burying in such great and lavish affair? And Judith is like, oh, it was your brother. He died from what is it, like a collapse, just like you, but he died. And she's obviously lying through her teeth, more or less, because she says it was natural causes. It wasn't really so natural, as it was poison. And after this, Jousta goes to Cuthred's daughter and I guess Aethelred's room, and she says, "Leave unless you are pregnant, which you can stay." Like,
She immediately moves those hands.
mm-hmm.
Oh, what? Yeah, yeah, you
It's
know,
like, yeah, it's like a maybe baby like situation, but yeah, or it's one of those things.
oh, there's a baby.
Or she'll like at least lie about it for a while.
I think. Do you think? I don't think Judith's gonna let her get away with that snapping. I don't know if she is pregnant, Judith will want that baby, right? Wouldn't you
Sure.
think so? And it also harkens back to what's up, Jordy? How are you doing, my friend? Uh, Jordy Jedi in the house. It harkens back to whether or not she's actually making Alfred sick every now and then to keep him under her spell, keep him needing her. Uh, like Sasuke was saying last week, really fucked up Munchausen syndrome type
Mm-hmm.
deal. So I could see that. I'm not saying that's necessarily what's happening, but all things point to, yeah. You really seeing this, don't you? That Aethelred's daughter gets really snappy, right? What do you think's gonna happen with that?
Aethelred's daughter or Cuthred's daughter?
Catherine's daughter. I'm sorry. Yeah,
Aethelred's wife.
Aethelred doesn't
Yeah,
have a daughter.
she not, well, not yet. We don't know. Um, but yeah, she's very snappy. She's like, I just lost my husband. You just lost your son, and that's like Judith kind of resigned herself to the fact of like, yes, he's dead. Um, it doesn't really affect me as much. I don't think. I think she personally would be more emotional if it was the other way around and it was Alfred was the one that was murdered. Uh, and because she's like, yes, she has love and appreciation for Aethelred because she is one of her children, but it's from the man who she never truly 100% loved. So it's kind of one of those things. It to me, it's almost like if the child that um, Cersei had, so this crossing over, but it's like if the child that Cersei had with Robert in the show had lived and there was a similar situation, it would have happened this way. Like I feel pretty much like that almost.
And it begs the question whether Cersei. Well, I don't know. I don't think she killed the child, but you make a good point there. And Judith definitely plays favorites. I feel like Cersei sort of did with Joffrey, but she loved all her children almost equally. Uh, but you got to take into account the different fathers. She thinks that Athelstan is a prophet and a saint at this point. So uh, Alfred is a divine child, blessed by the Pope, and all of this stuff. So there's some religious fervor there as well. But she's definitely playing the Game of Thrones. And the Night Who Smoked the Laughing Tree and the Dog Show is here. What is up, my friends? How are y'all doing? Yeah, everybody go check their channels out. The Night Who Smoked the Laughing Tree has a channel. Uh, we'll get that plugged in there. It's called The Iron Throner. And it, Judith just wants. It's hard to say what she wants. It's power, yes, but she doesn't necessarily counsel Alfred in military strategy, right? She tried to counsel him against Aethelred, but she pretty much lets him do his thing, and her only connection with him is making him better when he gets sick. And she's there for him, but I feel like that's keeping her in the need part. I think she's just overly insane about the baby of a saint, the baby anointed by God, possibly in her eyes, because Egbert filled her head with all kinds of crazy stuff, and she's just been sucking it up. Mr. Baptiste, what is up, my friend? How you doing, buddy? Go ahead, Kenzie, if you want to, and
Yeah.
say whatever you want about that, and then we'll talk about Judith telling Alfred
Mm-hmm.
what she did. Holy shit.
Yeah. Most definitely Judith was more or less playing like we're saying playing favorites and um she kind of is just like there like now at this point because she knows that or maybe that she feels that Alfred now has more like people around him that can have somewhat of a better battle strategy a little bit like the with like Ube, which is Ragnar's son, who's pretty good at battle strategy. So he has like at least someone in his corner that she I guess is hoping that doesn't like try to do the same thing as her son, just try to overthrow him. Um, but I feel like she's kind of secure in where she is right now, especially with him. If she needs to, she'll 100% step in and do what the mama bear thing and do what she needs to do. But yeah, Judith is like, yeah, either you're pregnant and you can stay, or you got to go home to your mother and all that. Like, um, Judith doesn't obviously want the ex-wife of this of her son just meandering around. Who knows? God knows what she could do. Um, but maybe letting her go and letting her out of her sight is maybe a bad thing because she is Aethelred's wife after all. And
Yeah, we don't know what happened too much after that, right?
mm-hmm,
Because, like I said, I think she really loved Ethelred, but she couldn't let anything happen to Alfred. He has to fulfill his destiny and all of this shit. And she definitely loved him more because it killed her. you saw how she held in her emotions until she died. He died, and then she just lost it. I mean, she really does. She really didn't love her son. It was just a sick and twisted type of love that's going on here, and yeah, that's some
Hmm.
good points. Uh, Alfred, I guess, took it about as well as any person could have.
Yeah, you wake up, you go to bed, or you, what is it? You go into essentially a coma. Everything is relatively fine, and you wake up a few days later, and your brother's been killed or died, and then you find out later that it was your mother that was the one who
It,
made it happen.
uh, yeah, and then she tells him, and it's kind of odd that it's the same setting before she killed the other son, and she at this point kills his soul. So it's a good metaphor for what happens here. I think this really tears Alfred apart. This is going to be something that sticks with him. I could see maybe at some point him causing the death of Judas, but I don't think so until Judith kills Aethelred's wife, which I think she will do, for sure. What do you think? I don't know. What do you think Judith is gonna do, and what do you think Alfred is gonna do at this point after knowing this? I know he's kind of moved on, but do you think he's?
Mm-hmm. Probably what will happen with Judith is because we don't know the status of Aethelred's wife, whether she is pregnant or not. Next episode, it may come out that she says that she is pregnant. Um, Judith may think it's like this may be actually factual, or this is an act of desperation to stay in the royal household. She'll probably wait the appropriate amount of time because obviously a woman who's had children, she'll know the signs and the symptoms of pregnancy. Wait, figure that out. If no, that nothing changes, that's when she'll probably do like what she has to do, which is to kill Aethelred's wife. Um, for like it wouldn't be treason essentially, but it would just be like lying to um the queen mother about another heir or whatever. Um, and then I could see her killing her. Um, it'd just be
Now, can I say this? If we want to move forward a little bit, we you make a good point, but Judith she's looking in the mirror, right? Do you think she's on borrowed time, and this is why she's thinking so far ahead in the future that she won't be there to do anything later,
mm-hmm,
and maybe she doesn't have this Munchausen syndrome type thing. Maybe she is dying, and I mean she's jacked up in the head in a sense, but if she's dying, she believes in Christianity. She believes she'll be reunited with her son when she dies, right?
mm-hmm,
So she's got this going on in her head. So yeah, you always have to throw religious fervor into that. What and at the same time, we get this news. So Alfred doesn't really have time to. He has time to react, and they kind of have time to talk, but he doesn't have
mm-hmm.
time to process it.
Yeah.
And the Danes are coming, which I believe they're going to be called the Black Danes, and I think
Mm-hmm,
they're more northern Germanic, lower Scandinavian, and the Danes are where we get most of our Viking knowledge from. And sometimes we refer to all Vikings as Danes, but that's not really the case because not all Vikings are Danish. But most of the history that survived through the Danes, which were kind of a more
mm-hmm.
evolved set of Vikings. But
Yeah.
we'll see them in the next episode. But yeah, 300 ships are on the way, 3,000 Danes on their way, and well, Torvi's terrible at truth telling. What do you think?
Yeah. But going back to when, just for a quick second, when Alfred was flipping every single possible item over in the room where Judith tells him that she murdered his brother, he just like flips every single possible thing and then just sits there, goes like, and it's like the poor person and or the poor team of servants that had to clean that up afterwards. It's like make work project for them. Um, but most definitely when Alfred, I think we've used this because the thumbnail is when the writer comes in telling Alfred that the Danes have sailed and that they'll be here in a few days. Um, it's again scary because they they have some Vikings on their side, but it's not enough. Probably because they did just have a battle 2 episodes ago. We don't know really how much of Alfred's army had been depleted, so it's kind of scary. We also don't really know how well these Danish people fight. So that's obviously when he brings in the expert, I guess, on Viking fighting, which happens to be Uber and Torby. And um, Alfred's like, I want to lead my people into battle. And Uber's like, no, give me that. Like, make me the leader of your army. And it's almost kind of like, I'm trying to figure out if he should or not. And that's kind of a dichotomy that's thing.
Right. He thinks, Alfred thinks, usually traditional war with other, what you would call it, Saxons, it would strike, not necessarily, it would strike fear into the hearts of the other kings because usually they did not fight in the front. But, you know, most kings fight in the front of every Viking army, so it wouldn't be anything that would scare them. It actually just, he would have a giant bullseye on him immediately. I believe Uba at this point, if he wants to take command, um, and knowing how the knowing the Viking culture, I believe he thinks he can talk to the Danes,
Mm-hmm.
and even while talking, they'll give him a parlay, and even while talking, he can be setting other things up at this point. But I don't, from we might as well go off what we saw from the preview. He's gonna challenge a one-on-one. I can't remember the exact Norse name for it. I will look it up by the time of the next episode. And I don't think they're going to do the whole carpet thing, laying down the 3 meter by 2 meter carpet or whatever length they decide on and stuff,
Yeah.
but it's going to be a circle. But they're going to have a one-on-one battle, and it's going to be fantastic. And I just want to say, what's up, Forrest Blurda, JR Rally, and Geek Track 1. Thank you, my man, for the extra like. I appreciate it. He's Uber's taking a big chance here, and it's all for the future of him, Tolby, that land they wanted, and what he thinks Ragnar's complete dream was.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I really think it's he knows that he knows the rights and customs, but he's gonna and that the Black Danes are referred to mainly because of their dark hair. And they
Mm-hmm.
usually didn't have light hair, but I don't know if they're gonna go that way in the show. They're just probably gonna be some kind of badass legendary tribe, I'm sure. I
Probably.
know they came from like certain places in Ireland, and there were a few different places. It's gonna be interesting because I've seen some of the shots, and it looks like it's gonna be a badass one-on-one. So definitely uh, check it out next week. It's gonna be a fantastic episode. Well, this was a really good episode for build up, don't you think, Kinsey?
Yeah, it was a lot of conversations and a lot of just building to the end because we only have 3 more episodes after this one. So it's building towards the end. But most definitely, like you said, like the Black Danes are something that at least Uba can more understand slash negotiate with rather than the young king who's just lost his technical air and all of that. So it's just getting them to understand. And as we said in the preview, they do show the Black Danes, or like the Danes at least. And the one that Uba challenges happens to have blonde hair, so it's obviously a more of a different experience. But as you can see, like in the picture, like these two just
They're gonna
completely
kiss in just a second.
yeah bromance. I bet you somewhere online there's probably Ube and Alfred fan fiction somewhere.
Oh, it's gonna be
Um,
just like Last Kingdom, and then he's already taught Alfred how to fight. He's he's taking on the role of Arsling. Shout out to Fear Hexa, by the way.
yes, go check out her Twitter and her YouTube. Man, she's so funny. Um, but yeah, like staring into those blue eyes, right, for Alfred, just like a trance almost. And Torvi's like, "Bitch, what the hell?" Almost in that. So it's kind of funny.
Do you think something's wrong with Judas? It's kind of clear. She's staring at the mirror, and it's something, right? What could you think it?
Yeah.
What do you
Well,
think it
because
is?
she's looking down, and obviously, because this is history, they don't really show too much nudity, even though it is a premium channel. Um, maybe she may have what would become to known as maybe breast cancer or something, because she is looking at down at her chest more specifically. It's not looking just at her body herself. So maybe she's like doing what could be considered as like trying to figure out if she has something there. I don't know. Or because I don't think she's pregnant anymore. I don't think she can carry another child. So, and there's no scene like that we haven't had for her in a while. So to be something scary.
Or she could have a tumor in her belly, or she
Mm-hmm.
thinks she's like has some kind of divine pregnancy. I don't know. That's just getting insane. That's my dark mind there. But she probably is dying. We'll find out, and it makes sense for a lot of her actions if she is,
Mm-hmm.
especially given her faith and everything. That's a good point. Uh, Next, you got anything else on not Kattegat, freaking Wessex?
Um, no, not really. It's just this is just gonna build up to when the next episode, really. And no confirmation of really Elspeth. We only see Elspeth for 5 seconds in this episode. Nothing further, which is kind of weird. But early pregnancy times.
All right, I figure we'll go to York. It's a pretty. There's only a couple scenes from York, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's about 2 or 3 scenes, short scenes.
So it's all about Bjorn and Gunhild, and we see it open up, if I'm not mistaken, with Bjorn with Gunhild beating the hell out of a few different dudes. She just keeps taking
Mm-hmm.
on a different guy, and she's just
Mm-hmm.
badass. Uh, Harold wants to be king of Kattegat. He informs Bjorn. Bjorn says, "I'll give you that." But Bjorn's got this look, even right here on his face. You can tell. I think there's a bigger plan in motion with Bjorn. Although, once we keep going on in York, which we'll keep talking about,
Mm-hmm.
after Bjorn tells him they're going to sell, and they're going to sell this time of year because he had a dream his father told him to. And what's up, Phantom D Saint? How goes it, my man? And so King Harold agrees, and they're getting everything ready to go to Kattegat. Now, Harold walks in on Gunhild. I guess she's is she getting ready at this time, if I'm not mistaken?
She has to be, I guess, getting ready to go to bed, I guess, because she wears like this. She goes from in this. couple of scenes, she goes from wearing her, I guess, shield maiden-esque attire to a flowy dress, which is something like Frades would be wearing instead of like a shield maiden. So I don't know. I think it's like to get ready to go to bed, but it's because we see them in daytime and then it's next is night. So I don't know.
Phantom Descent says only a couple scenes did he piss off the writers. I don't know. You would think so this season. Bjorn hasn't had much going on,
Yeah.
uh, but it seems pretty set up here. I don't know if I like it or not. I
Mm-hmm.
think she was maybe going to get ready for a date with Bjorn. If so, she didn't keep the clothes on more than a minute and a half.
No.
Uh, that hasn't really been shown. I think they were accentuating her femininity in these scenes and the fact that the two men are lusting over her. Maybe she's
Mm-hmm.
playing them both because, she says no man will ever claim me. And she wants to be queen. That's her
Mm-hmm.
ambition. So we got another Freydis on our hand, except this one can wield a sword.
Yeah.
And
Kill you.
she seems a little smarter. We'll talk about Freydis. She made an interesting decision.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and yeah, just I won't go much more into it, but Bjorn's in love for the first time ever, apparently. From the way he described it, yeah, he definitely is in love. And go ahead, just talk about all
Yeah.
that nasty. No, just
Um.
everything from his plans to go back to Kattegat and the dream about his father to Harold Finehair and all
Yeah.
that lovey-dovey stuff.
Cause we first, I guess, catch up or the title thing of going when they go to York is Bjorn just walking through, hitting a couple shield people, and just keep going through, and he meets with Harold, and Harold's like, "Oh yeah, well, after Ivar dies, we made a deal that I would become king." And Bjorn's like, "Why don't we make the same deal?" So it's almost at this point for Finehair because obviously he's much older than Bjorn and Ivar. He's just like, "So you're pushing me further and further and further down the totem pole. Okay, I get it now." Um, and he says, "Well," Bjorn says, "Well, if I become king, I can swear on this pact with not only my armband, but with the life of Gunhild." Like, he swears on the life of the woman that he later confesses that he loves, which is a little weird. Um, but I don't know, maybe it's a
Well,
thing.
doesn't he also say that basically he could have her if Bjorn dies? I don't
Mm-hmm.
know if she'll accept you, but you can try, basically, is
Yeah.
what he says. Uh, I found that interesting. I feel like he's leading Harold into a trap for after Kattegat, but yeah, I'm
Mm-hmm.
hoping Bjorn's that smart, or at least they portray him to be, because he is in history. He's actually called a trickster Viking because of how clever and the things he'd done uh, throughout his life were. So I hope they don't dumb him down to be a fool for love. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. And then it obviously transitions to Harold and um, Gunhild, and the entire time, pretty much, the scene's going on. You think, so is she playing just one of them? Is she just playing Finehair because she was kind of flirting with him when he was on the way to Wessex, um, and she does say that she's like you want to be king, and then she says, "Well, I want to be queen." And there's that weird thing where she's looking in the mirror and he's looking in the mirror, but she's in front and he's behind her, and it's like if those two were to become the power thing and just dupe Bjorn Ironside, like that'd be kind of crazy. And my last kind of point ish on this whole York stuff is she goes from her shield maiden esque attire to this flowy dress, and you're just kind of like, what? Especially for Bjorn, because I don't. It's only been like a few times that he's been like tricked or not tricked, but like he's kind of fallen for women that aren't like, I guess, in their typical like shield maiden or like warrior esque attire. Um, and he does say it's like I've like been with many women, but I haven't fallen in love with them. So that calls into question his marriage and his life with Prune Torvi, I think. And then there's also the point with like when he's been with at least 10 women have been connected to Bjorn at this point.
Well, he's thought he's loved them. He said, but he mentions he can't stop thinking about Gunhild, but also he mentions
Oh, this is me.
King Arnulf, and I feel like he mentions it to be used almost as a weapon. It's like a hint that he's going to use that against him. Uh, Slight foreshadowing, I believe. But then you have her just begging him to tell her he loved her, right?
Mm-hmm.
As well. So, mm, sorry, didn't mean to cut you off.
It's no. It's no, I think she's doing, I guess, what you would want to do, I guess, um if it's like, hey, if someone like Bjorn Ironside was like in love with you, or at least having some sort of feelings for you, and she'd be like, I can use that to my advantage. The King Harold thinks that he likes me too in that way. So it's like playing her bets, I guess. And obviously she goes to bed with Bjorn, and it's like, let's see how long this lasts. And if she'll be the one that gets pregnant this season, who knows? At this point, and will Bjorn actually stay with her then, and not abandon the wife and the children this time?
I
He's
feel
yeah.
like she may be duping them both that she wants to be queen, period. She didn't say anything about having a king, right? And
Mm-hmm.
she delivered the stated, no man will ever claim me.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe she has aspirations to be the first shield maiden queen. Like, I know we've had queens, but lone queen
Yeah.
or ruler.
Supreme
Hmm.
ruler.
Yes, supreme ruler, Lord Snoke. No, I'm just kidding.
That's a good one.
Let's see. I think I had something else on this. Let me check, make sure. And Harold does have a trinket that I can't remember if it's
Yeah.
Astrid's or
It's
not or what it is.
it's something that I think is on like a chain or something. It has to be something that, because you hear like a ching ching, like when he's like playing with it in his hands. Um,
Is
because
it
that's
Ragnar's cross?
could be. It's
Hmm.
something relatively, I guess, small, so it's not like it could be like a necklace or something. Yeah, it wouldn't
And
be
where the
something
hell did
massive.
Magnus go?
He was, I think, in the scene where Bjorn's hitting with the forging that sword. I think he was in the background.
Okay.
I think. I'm not 100% sure, but I think he was there. He didn't say that I am Ragnar's son with this episode, or wasn't in this episode, so like that check. Um, because that's like the only line he seemed to be is given is "I'm Ragnar's son." Um,
And
yeah,
it's hard to tell how much time has passed. It seems like more time has passed in York than in Wessex. It seems like we
yeah.
don't even know what
Kattegat
the
seems
timeline is in Kattegat. It's like a year into the future. Honestly, I think they're having to do that. So when Bjorn and them show up, the timeline will be right because
I guess so.
it had to take a while for Bjorn to get to York and not, um, 2 days.
Yeah.
And he's been there for a minute, it
Mm-hmm.
seems. He's settled in. You know, you think if he'd just still been there, Magnus would be pestering the shit out of him still. So that's not happening. I think it's kind of three different time frames we're looking at.
Yeah.
And that may help us decipher what's going to happen, which we'll talk about at the end. Hopefully, maybe we'll have some thoughts. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know.
Yeah, because if we're kind of with York, yeah, it seems like there's almost different sort of timelines for each, and it just seems like pretty much Kattegat the fastest timeline so far. Um, yeah. Let's see what the chat thinks. Um, yeah, it's just it's kind of
Thanks,
that.
Bubba.
Yeah, um, yeah. There's just the timelines and stuff is a little bit messy. Especially when you get to Kattegat and compare it to York or Wessex. So, what do you want to talk? Want to talk? What?
Well, let's
Kattegat.
go to Kattegat. Another celebration and announcement of how great Kattegat is. Ragnar or Odin gave him this responsibility. Uh, he dims the lights, tells another bedtime story to all his loyal followers who are drinking the Kool-Aid at this point, and he gives this whole crazy speech about how how he's not the enemy. The people that think he's the enemy is the enemy. He goes into this whole. He's getting mass paranoia. Uh, I I think it's going to build up to his downfall. And like you said, it, Freydis is about ready to pop at this point, and she, it, here he kind of is talking about how these people are against him, and he's deliberately staring straight at Vitzer, right? Would you like to give any thoughts about the first couple opening scenes in
Yeah,
Kattegat?
because Ivar calls pretty much a council to, or council everybody, and he's like, I pretty much decided that we're gonna have an elective council, or just a council where only a select few of us decide on what's gonna happen. I'll leave the rest of you in the dark until we figure out what's going on. And um, we see Vitzerg standing beside with his girlfriend, who finally has her name revealed, but that's not until
Thora, right? I
Thora.
think.
Thora, it's either Thora or Flora. Where we watched the website was so confusing. Um, but yeah, she has her name finally, and yeah, it's like Vitzerg's almost like this thing of just like my brother again. And we see a shot of Freydis, and she's wearing, I guess, like one of the crowns that she has, and yeah, she must be getting uncomfortable sitting like that, sitting on a chair like that, because yeah, time has passed either very quickly and like in Kattegat, like there's this time warp where time speeds faster in Kattegat, or the opposite, and everywhere else is much slower. Um, yeah, because she's sitting there and she's just like her stomach's way out there. So, but those two, the goddess and the new, I guess, one of the newly converted Buddhists in Kattegat, uh, they're they're funny.
Yeah, that's a good point. It cuts from. It seems like Vitzerk's completely converted to Buddhism at this point. He's meditating. It goes straight from which the idol may be Thor, but I thought it was supposed to be Ivar. I don't know if he's gotten that
Yeah.
hubris, but it's going straight from two different religions. The dichotomy of it, the way of life of that, and it goes to this point where Ivar doesn't know whether he wants to be loved or feared. He wants to he wants to kill Vitzer, right?
Mm-hmm.
But for some reason, Freydis says no. And this almost makes me think for sure she wants to somehow have Ivar's. Well, I think she's smart politically. I think if he did kill Vitzer, it would cause an uproar at this point. But also, I think she has something up her sleeve to where she doesn't
Yeah.
want Ivar to live after the baby's born. Once everybody thinks it's the god baby, if
Mm-hmm.
Ivar just accidentally dies, then oh, she's the queen with the heir to the throne. But anyone can challenge at any time. What's up, Quintanilla 5K and Kaboko Carlos? How are y'all today?
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, because yeah, when we do see Ivar, pretty much sneak in on Vitzerk and Flora, because he has obviously a knife under her pillow, and you hear just Ivar just plop right beside them, and it's just like brother. Um, so it's like you just sneak up in the middle of the night because Ivar he can stand, but he's faster sometimes when he crawls. So he's probably like across the floor into to scare Vitzerk, and yeah, he's kind of just like at this point you gotta leave or I kill her or I'll burn. No, you have to leave and you have to go meet with Olaf's or she burns alive. And Vitzerk, obviously smitten with his new love, who hasn't had to share with any brothers yet. Um,
Not
uh,
yet.
Not yet, anyway. Uh, he
Olaf the Stout, who's supposed to go meet, I
Olaf
think.
the
If
Yes.
not, and then go to meet Harold Finehair, if I'm not mistaken, which could,
Mm-hmm.
eventually Bjorn and Vitzerk are going to come back together. If
Mm-hmm.
anybody's seen any of the trailers at this point, so
Yeah, the mid-season uh, trailer from San Diego Comic Con. Um, but yeah, there's most definitely like a thing of just having Vitzerk separated from someone that he actually cares about for 5 minutes, and they do have a goodbye scene, which is kind of just like take care of yourself, stay out of trouble, and Ivar won't
be
bother
careful
you.
of Ivar.
Mm-hmm. Stay out of trouble from Ivar, and who knows? Like maybe she is still a god, and maybe she can have some sort of influence on Ivar. But when Ivar's talking about his going back for a second, when Ivar's
The
talking to Frey.
cost of what?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my bad. I was just gonna say the cost of what Vitzer's gonna have to do, which is defeat Ivar, is gonna be. She's gonna see. We're gonna see her burn alive before the
Mm-hmm.
battle. Before they battle, I think. I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure of it. Unless she
or,
is a goddess, like you were saying. But go ahead.
yeah, or yeah, she'll be like captive at some point. But when Ivar's uh talking to Frades, we can obviously see she struggles to get stand up and also sit down, because she's got the massive stomach, because of the baby. But she kind of goes through like what Cersei said, as Cersei said before, which is let the people fear you more than they fear the enemy, pretty much. And but Ira still has a questioning of the faith of, well, if I kill my brother, what does that do? Like, there's probably people following me because my brother is still alive, at this point. So he's obviously questioning whether what he should do, and I don't think Freydis really gives him a straight answer of yes or no. Um, she's just
She
kind of
just
like
asked
doing.
him if he wants to be a kind or cruel king, but she
Mm-hmm,
does tell him you get farther with kindness than with cruelty, because
mm-hmm.
with fear. Because and I also want to say, what's up, Reese? How you doing, my man? Uh, it's it's a good point to her. I don't know where she learned all this shit from, but apparently she's read many of books on politics.
Yeah.
I still think, well, Ivar has no way of knowing. What he's heard from York is good news that Finehair is going to come back, and then they're going to go back to. Are they going to meet up with King Harold because
Mm-hmm,
King Harold's straight up betraying them? So he's just trying to get rid of his brother at this point because he would have killed him. He would have already killed him had he not thought the people would turn on him as a
mm-hmm.
kinslayer. Um, and this will be his undoing. Uh, It kind of just bothered me. It's like I love you, brother. That's
Yeah.
why I don't like you just sitting here having a normal life. That's why you gotta leave, or I'll burn your girlfriend alive. Like, yeah, you love him, right? No,
Mm-hmm.
he's just scared. Ivar's doesn't want to be overshadowed by anything or anyone, not
Yeah.
even his father's legend.
He's scared of the potential that Witzer could have, especially because Witzer knows that it was Ivar that was the one that killed the seer. So yeah, it's one of those things that he's got going on. Um, yeah, but we can. And
Yeah, I
in
think he's cursed too, and we'll talk about the next episode when we get up to this because I found a
mhm.
pretty cool meaning for the name of the next episode. You're wanting to go get into
We can talk
El
about,
Iceland?
yeah, we can talk about that.
Those main meat of the episode so far. And well, you know, Family Feud time, right?
Hmm.
You've got Shettle and Avend. Avend has been outcast along with Helgi and all of their family. They finally get there, seemingly like a contentious reunitement. Then we come back from a commercial break,
Yeah,
and Shadow kills them all. He goes
because all the
straight
women are gone.
Razor's Edge from WWE on, and he
Yeah.
kills everyone and wants to save Avon for in the morning. Floki
And
is held at knife point, and
mhm.
I can only imagine what's going on through his head. And afterwards, they ended up executing Avon, and then they ended up executing Helgi after
Yeah.
seemingly Metal said if he does make it by in the morning, he'd let him live. So I don't know what was up with that, but it was very brutal scenes and uh, nothing Flucky could really do right there. More going to my credence that Flucky will kill everyone.
Mhm.
But go ahead, Kenzie.
Yeah, this whole thing of pretty much them arriving and pretty much, like you said, between a commercial break is just revenge kill. Let's just boom, 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 boom with like, oh, did I drop? I don't know. Um, revenge kills, like pretty much right after a commercial is just revenge kill, and they have, I think it's like the wife, the daughter, and one of the other sons, I think, is killed instantly of the side that was let go from the settlement, and then just leaves two, and then there was a third because there's three heads at the end of that scene. Um, but the father of the exiles family has his head chopped off by an axe. Not even like a long sword, it's just a short-handed axe, which is pretty
A creepy
brutal.
song sung to you right before you die about how you're about to die. Um,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I can't remember the words. Anyways, go ahead.
Yeah, and pretty much the son is taken out. See that his father's been decapitated. His heads get also sliced off, and by the end of it, there's three heads on spikes with a crow, and Floki's just like, really? I have to deal with this again? Like the fact that there's more just inter-family killing all the time. It's like, what is it turning into like this mob mental, mob like lifestyle? You kill and I kill back. Um, but Floki thought it was all gonna be peaceful, and it's not peaceful at all.
Yeah, he thought it could work, right? He's sitting there telling himself that, and Shadow's telling him that uh, no, we are who we are, and this kind of goes back to the wrong picture. Goes back to my point. Uh, well, actually, not my point. Freaking Pure Hexa
Yeah.
thought of it, or maybe uh, we're really seeing this Flucky becoming the seer type deal. He's having to go through all this pain and suffering, having to see all these things literally and can't do anything about it. Just like the seer, he's starting to mimic him. It feels like this is what his religious pilgrimage is all about. It's going to be him alone that leaves there at a great cost. He may lose his sight for the cost of knowledge, which is a trope in Norse mythology and mythology in general. And right here, you see this picture when he's walking back. He damn sure looks a lot like a seer here. And when he gets back, Kenzie, I can't remember, but it's Shettl's daughter, right? That is takes it
Yes.
really hard. It's the one that Floki's been hanging out with a lot, right? That
Hmm.
perhaps we
Yeah.
thought he would have a romantic relationship, but that's went down the
Yeah.
drain literally.
Yes. Yeah, it's the daughter of the one who killed everyone. Um, Pretty much. Yeah. She because they all lead ahead and Floki's just walking behind, but Floki has a lot of fabric on, so he's probably been weighted down. It's raining. Wet fabric when it's raining makes you all just like sluggish and stuff, so he's a little bit lonesome and probably didn't eat very properly while they were on that trek. So, yeah, she kind of has like this emotional thing of because she even asks, she's like, where's Helgi? It was just like right after this, and he's like, he's dead. Um, Everybody pretty much has been murdered, minus the people that are there, and she just pretty much starts bursting into tears because she obviously thought that this wasn't how it was going to go. She thought maybe there's something better that was going to happen from this, that some sort of reconciliation, maybe.
Well, she truly believed in Floki and what the cause was, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which you will have. You're gonna have a mixture of people, and the fact. I mean, you kind of feel a sense of doom at that point, and then at this time, Floki is blaming himself the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Which, yes, in a sense, it's your fault, but you can't be blamed for the actions of barbarians.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, it was your own idea. You put these people in a pressure cooker, but they chose to come along. You didn't force them. So uh, this inner conflict with Floki, and I, yeah, I see like this repentance arc for him going even deeper now than
Mm-hmm.
it was because he's. Do you think he's gonna have to kill him? The rest of them? What do you think the
Probably.
hell he's gonna do after this?
Well, who's left? We have a wife, yeah, because pretty much after this scene, which is like the end scene of this, is she's just walking through the part of Iceland and then sees a bunch of like a whole falls, and she sees Floki, but Floki tries to stop it, but girl commits suicide by jumping off a cliff into the waterfall, and yeah, so that's another one down for
It
that,
looks a
and
lot like the falls that Floki saw. I don't know which god it was in. If it was, I can't remember which god, but Floki saw the god in. I
mm-hmm.
think it may have been the same fall.
And it was also where he got the
Vision.
knowledge of where the daughter that was pregnant was buried in the shallow grave. That's also too where um, he figured that out as well. He may probably have one more experience like that, like if he's feels like he can go there again. Um, I feel like pretty much if we only have like 3 people left plus Floki in this settlement, something bound again is gonna happen. It's the climate's horrible there, and something's gonna happen.
Yeah, they they're gonna have to try to leave. Gonna have to try to leave. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
why they could even stay there at that point, or is Floki gonna mentally break? I don't know, but
Mm-hmm.
we still have to see the
Or
ramifications of what happened with this.
oh, I just kind of this kind of popped out into my head. What if it's kind of like a not entirely because they obviously don't have the numbers, but it's like that the last what is it called? The last colony of like Roanoke or whatever where Floki goes back and he's like, I'll bring more people because the only people that are left are people of his age and he obviously needs younger people um, to obviously populate Iceland. And by the time maybe he says he's coming back, he doesn't come back because either the weather is horrible or something happened. Plus, we know that there's going to be only about 20 more episodes after this season ends. So there could be that thing where he promises to come back, but extenuating circumstances happen and he doesn't.
I could still see someone else landing there because there is a settlement there at some point throughout history
Mm-hmm.
that's bigger than this. Uh, so yeah, it's hard to say. I think there's definitely a definite pilgrimage into what mankind really is and how hard it is
Mm-hmm.
to change a person's core, a
Mm-hmm.
person in their core. And if you want, we'll kind of get into a little bit of what
Mm-hmm.
we think is going to happen.
Yep.
And dude, I just thought of something. Would Alfred, I know we're going to see Lagatha. It seems like that Judith finds her.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but two things. Would she have sought the church and then they just took her in and locked her up, or some crazy nun stuff's going on? I don't know. Two, did Alfred take her because he has literally no leverage over Bjorn? None. He
Mm-hmm.
has some with Uba, he has some with Tolvi. That would be
Yeah.
seemingly the only leverage he could use, besides, Bjorn's children, but he's not going to do that because Uba's basically the stepdaddy, and that's not going to happen. But could Alfred have taken her captive? Uh,
It could.
did Lagatha walk somewhere on her own? It kind of seems that way, but what do
Mm-hmm.
you think?
Um. Yeah, I feel like she's obviously somewhere that it could have been a thing because I feel like next episode we will get a mini Lagatha like journey from where obviously the end of the battle to where she's found next episode. It could be a thing where she goes and walks into the forest until everybody just stops looking for her, which probably was like a few days. She comes back and then she goes and hides
I think
somewhere.
she's definitely in the church. That's the
Yeah.
closest place. Judith would go to the church before the battle and all this stuff. Plus, she needs to seek out God at this moment. She just killed her son. I
Mm-hmm.
could see her going to church, but it could be something else. Yeah, I
Yeah.
could see a
Because
little thing of how she got there. Maybe
because
she wanted to be pious.
I, if my memory serves me correctly, there's a scene where Lagatha is in a forest and she does. If this is in the trailer and not the trailer for next week, but it's in the trailer for the season, and she does like fall to the ground. So there could be a thing of maybe she goes to where Ragnar was, like the pit where Ragnar says her final goodbyes, I guess, to that, and then walks back. It's a far enough distance where people would stop looking for her, like they wouldn't go into the forest, gives and then comes back and seeks refuge in the church. Maybe it's just to give up that last bit of Odin and that last bit of her past life before she establishes herself
Well,
under
she
the
wants to
Christian
be
faith.
in. Well, this is okay. This just hit me in the face when you said all that. All right. So Bjorn, first thing Bjorn mentions, that's not her. She wears a belt with Odin's, like a charm of Odin around her
Mm-hmm.
waist. Cuthbert's dead. She loves Cuthbert to death. If she thinks Cuthbert
Cuthbert.
is not, what the hell am I talking about? Bishop
Heckman.
Heckman. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Sorry, Heckman. I didn't mean to screw you over. She loves Heckman to death, and she knows Heckman's not gonna go to her Valhalla or her heaven. That Heckman's gonna go to Christian heaven. The only
Mm-hmm.
way she can see him again in the afterlife would be for her to convert or try to. But I think they're gonna
Mm-hmm.
like lock her ass up because she's a pagan.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe they just had some weird things for you becoming. I don't even know if they had nuns back then, but maybe she. Well, you know what? If you wanted to atone for your sins, they could have put you through a bunch of stuff like the High Sparrow does, I guess.
Yeah.
That's seemingly what it looks like happened to her. Hair's cut and everything. That seemingly looks like what's happened to you. Just confess,
Mm-hmm.
Lagatha. Confess.
Ding 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 ding. Where's the shame bell? Where that comes from? But yeah.
So, what's gonna happen with Ivar and Freydis alone? Who else is gonna step up to be there to? Is Uba's girlfriend gonna step up her role in
Uber.
that storyline? Not Uba. See, I'm getting all these. Is Victor's girlfriend gonna
Yes.
step up Ivar's storyline? Because it can't be just Ivar and Freydis. We'll get tired of that the whole
Yeah.
time.
I feel like something's probably bound to happen. We'll probably I don't know what's going on. We'll probably see the a bit of her backstory because we obviously didn't get that. When she was first introduced, she just pops out behind the corner and goes, "Hi!" like that kind of thing, like with Vitzerk. So we'll obviously and ultimately see um, what's going on with her and how she can act by herself because she's always been beside Vitzerk pretty much the entire time she's been on the show. So we'll see kind of what she does. Maybe if she's one of those women that helps I highly doubt it, but maybe she's one of those women that helps Freydis give birth because that's in the trailer for the next episode. Is Freydis has the child in the trailer? It's named that it's a son, so she could be there to do something. Maybe she's the one that ultimately is responsible for something happening to the child, and that's maybe what catapults Ivar into this whole thing with Vitzer's girlfriend potentially.
Oh,
Um,
you want to know something?
sure.
Holy crap. Okay. Prediction. Next episode's name's Baldur, the son of Odin and Frigga. Frigga was, I guess, one of the favorite sons. Frigga made him repellent against everything. Nothing could harm him. Uh, Loki wanted him harmed, and if Freydis' son's named Baldur, I think he will die. Anyways, mistletoe was the only thing that would hurt him. So Loki made a dart out of mistletoe and killed him. This caused, I believe, uh, the world to be engulfed by sorrow. And if I'm not mistaken, a blind man threw the dart that killed him. It was a blind god, but I can't remember which dart.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like it's going to. Hmm, yeah, I don't know. I think that's pretty interesting if the sun is named that, or we may see a god
Mm-hmm.
next episode as well. It
Yes.
could go along that theme because the person seemingly was invincible. Even when he got hit with Thor's hammer, it
Mm-hmm.
did nothing. So there's a few people that could relate to. Um, hmm, I could relate to a bunch of people. Now that I think about it, I'll have to. That's some food for thought there because I could relate to Ivar, Bjorn, Freydis, maybe even Uba, if you look at it,
Mm-hmm.
and a few other people. So I think we're gonna have a very exciting next episode.
Yeah. I feel like
Anything you want to say, and then we'll give our rankings, and then
um
I'll not let you talk some more.
yeah we'll have yeah. So she's gonna be important because she's obviously was left behind and strategically left behind by Vitzerk for a reason, and Ivar forced her pretty much to stay. Um, it would have been funny, not funny, but it would have been cool for the two of them to go on like this trek, but obviously Vitzerk has work to do, so it's not that feasible. That's why also pretty much I think that she's staying behind so that we can learn more about her Taurus or Flora's character. And we'll figure out maybe if Ivar's been cursed with a child like him in terms of being a cripple, or if the child will be just an average child, be able to walk and such. And the Danes will have some good stuff with the Danes, I think, coming up. And because they're coming in for a reason.
You think about Ivar when he was just holding his hands out, the arrows never hit him. You think about him, the dreams he had. Balder had these horrible nightmares of basically dying and going to hell all the time. And his mother went to Hades to find out. Well, had these horrible nightmares, and his mother went to Hades to find out what the dreams meant, and they meant that he was going to die and forever be in Hades. I don't know if the nightmares were of his death or whatnot, but we have seen this kind of with Ivar. I guess he says he's the favorite son. He's Ragnar's favorite son. He's the son of Odin, so it kind of fits in. I don't think Ivar's going to die, but I think we're going to either start to see the downfall, or if he names his son this, it's going to be very ironic, because I think that the name of his son kind of mirrors a lot of Ivar, because Ivar's like a dark Balder in my opinion. So I think that's pretty cool. Plus, they usually confuse me every week and just go straight off the cuff, and I never can guess. So whatever. How many? Well, what do you want to give it? Can't give it Buddhas this week. What do you want to give it? How many baby bumps do you give this episode?
9 month baby bumps.
Because we got a couple baby bumps this episode.
Baby bumps. This episode was pretty good. I'd say maybe about, for being more of a drama heavy episode and less battle centric, action centric, probably about 9. I seem to give 9s a lot because the show does both action and drama pretty well.
Yeah, I give it an 8.5 Alfred Hissy fits. So
flip the tables, 8.5 flippy tables.
Yeah.
It's like about a 9, or like I hover always around a 9. So it's like, I'd say the same actually. Like, because I think the last time it was like a 9. I think it was 9 Buddhas or something that I gave it before, but yeah.
So, by the way, everyone, we have an episode club coming up in, what is it? About an hour and a half, or a little less.
About hour 20, hour and a half.
Valar Morghulis is going to be the episode. Season 2 finale. And somebody throw that in the chat for the link. And also, check my channel tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. I'll be doing Fire and Blood, chapters 6 through 7, with John St. Baptiste. Also, next week, you'll find us here doing Vikings again, possibly having the Justin Thomas show on with us. So be prepared to have a great time.
This will be a good episode. I feel like it's a good episode. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, it is. It is. No, it's okay. And I would just say, yeah, thank you, Kenzie. Why don't you tell everybody where they can find you if they don't already know? And she's in the descriptions too, by the way.
Yeah, you can. Sorry, everyone. I'm trying to get the link, and my internet is being all weird. You can find me on my channel. Jesus, I can't get to the link for it. Anyway, it'll be on my channel. You can see the link for episode club. You can find me on my channel. Me and Johnny will be going live in about an hour and 20, an hour and 30, talking the season 2 finale. Why we're doing this is because we were supposed to start going at least 2 times a week beginning of season 2, but extenuating schedules and circumstances made it so we have to catch up before obviously season 8 comes upon us. We have Cylon Johns tomorrow at 9 Eastern, talking season 2, episode 1, Scattered. And you yeah, we have Fire and Blood, which I will be not there, but I will probably be in the chat chatting away, even though I will have class. And my Stranger Things video should be up by tomorrow, I hope. If not, Saturday. But also, we should be starting season 3 of Game of Thrones sometime this weekend, to be determined on time slots. But yeah, we have got a lot going on. And I'm just...
Sounds great. She's just rambling. Thank you so much for coming on, Kenzie. I'll give everyone a shout out in the chat. Reese O, Bobby Catalano, Clarissa Thompson, Jordy Jedi, Quintanilla 5K. Let me make sure. Kaboko Carlos, Bubba Husky, Fandom D Saint, The Knight Who Smoked a Laughing Tree, Jordy Jedi, Forrest Blurda, Geek Chat 1, JR Rowley, Boopy Doopy Doopy Doo. Julianne 89, The Dog Show, John St. Baptiste, and boopy doopy doopy doo. And that's about it for today. Thank you everyone for coming out. I had such a fantastic time. Much love, everyone. Thank you, Kenzie, for being on the panel, and we will see you in a few minutes. And for Vikings, we'll see you next week around the same time. Thanks, everyone.
Skull.
Skull.